My dad said I'd never be as successful as him, so I hired his company and made him report to me. It started when I was 12. Dad owned a mid-sized consulting firm, and every family dinner became a lecture about how I'd never amount to anything. "You don't have the drive," he'd say, cutting his steak with surgical precision. "Success requires sacrifice, something your generation doesn't understand." Mom would change the subject, but the damage was done. By high school, I'd internalized his voice. Why try when you're destined to fail? College was my escape. I studied business and computer science while Dad expanded his firm into government contracts. He'd call occasionally to remind me that my degree was worthless. "Everyone has a business degree now," he'd scoff. "You need connections, experience, things you'll never have." After graduation, I moved across the country and started small. Freelance web development for local businesses. Dad laughed when I told him, "Playing with computers isn't a career. When you're ready for real work, maybe I'll find you something entry level." I hung up and got back to coding. 5 years later, my little web company had grown into a digital marketing agency. We specialized in helping traditional businesses transition online, exactly what consulting firms like Dad's needed but couldn't provide. That's when I learned about his company's struggles. Government contracts were drying up. Their biggest client had fired them for being technologically outdated. Dad was hemorrhaging money, laying off employees he'd known for decades. I waited until he was desperate. The call came on a Tuesday. Dad's voice was different, smaller, uncertain. "I need to ask a favor," he said. "We're looking for a marketing partner, someone young who understands digital." I let him pitch me for 20 minutes, explaining his company's expertise and client base. He had no idea he was begging his failure daughter for help. "Send me your proposal," I said. "I'll consider it." The proposal arrived the next day, desperate, offering terms heavily in my favor. I countered with even better terms for my company. Dad accepted immediately. Our first video conference was priceless. Dad's face when he saw me on screen, confusion, then recognition, then something like horror. "Surprise," I said. "Ready to talk strategy?" For the next 6 months, I rebuilt his entire business model. Dad attended every meeting, taking notes while I explained concepts he dismissed years earlier. His employees loved working with us. Their revenue increased 300%, but the best part was our weekly check-ins. "The Peterson account needs your social media audit by Friday," I'd tell him, watching him scramble to write it down. "Of course. Anything else?" The man who'd spent my childhood explaining why I'd never succeed was asking me for guidance, following my instructions, reporting progress on assignments I gave him. 6 months later, Dad's company was thriving again. They'd hired back most of their staff and landed 3 major contracts. During our final meeting, Dad cleared his throat awkwardly. "I owe you an apology," he said. "I was wrong about you, about everything." I leaned back in my chair, savoring the moment I'd imagined for years. "No," I said calmly. "You were right about one thing. Success does require sacrifice." I paused for effect. "You sacrificed your relationship with your daughter. I sacrificed my need for your approval. Dad's company is doing well now. They don't need us anymore. And honestly, that's fine." I kept detailed records of everything. His desperate emails, our recorded calls where he praised my leadership, his signed contracts acknowledging my company's superior expertise. Sometimes I review them when I'm having a bad day. Last month, Dad sent a LinkedIn recommendation praising my innovative business strategies and calling me one of the most successful entrepreneurs he's ever worked with. I framed it and hung it in my office, right above my college diploma.